Stay where you are. Do not move. Do not seek comfort in the shift of your weight or the scratching of your skin. This is the first lesson of the sword. The body is a temple of distractions, and your task is to burn the temple down until only the foundation remains. Close your eyes. Not to sleep, but to finally see the chaos you have allowed to inhabit your mind. Feel the air entering your lungs. It is cold, sharp, and indifferent. Does not care if you are tired. Does not care if you feel ready. This breath is the only truth you possess. Everything else, your debts, your desires, the voices of people who do not matter, the digital noise that has rotted your focus, is smoke. And today we are clearing the air with the cold edge of reality. You have spent years seeking consistency as if it were a gift to be received. You are wrong. Consistency is not a gift. It is a relentless war against the part of you that craves ease. Miyamoto Musashi did not become the greatest under the warmth of a roof. He became the sword by embracing the biting frost of the mountains and the absolute silence of the void. He understood that to master the world, one must first become a stranger to the comforts of the world. To your hands. Release the grip you have on your phone, on your worries, on your identity. Who are you when the noise stops? You are a vessel of untapped discipline, currently leaking energy into 1,000 useless directions. You seek motivation because you are too weak to rely on intent. Motivation is a flickering candle in a storm. Intent is the storm itself. As we descend deeper into this silence, realize that you are not here to listen to a story. You are here to undergo a reconstruction. We are going to strip away the layers of busyness you use to hide your lack of progress. We are going to confront the cowardice of your procrastination. The path of the lone warrior begins with a single terrifying realization. You are exactly where you deserve to be. If you are unsatisfied, it is because you have negotiated with your discipline. You have made excuses where you should have made scars. Breathe deeply. Let the weight of your body sink into the floor. You are becoming stone, unmoving, observant. The world outside continues its frantic, meaningless dance. But here, in this darkness, we are forging something that cannot be broken. The descent has begun. Do not turn back. The void is not empty. It is waiting for you to fill it with your resolve. Now that the earth beneath you feels solid, look at the ghost you have become. You claim to want a path, yet you refuse to walk when the ground is uneven. Most men are nothing more than weather vanes, turning wherever the wind of their emotions blows. If they feel good, they work. If they feel heavy, they retreat. This is the philosophy of the slave. To be a warrior is to be the wind itself, unchanging in its direction regardless of the landscape. In the Book of 5 Rings, I wrote that you must make your everyday stance your fighting stance. Do you understand the gravity of that? It means there is no off switch. There is no break from being who you claim to be. If you are disciplined only when you are watched, you are a performer, not a practitioner. If you are consistent only when it is convenient, you are a tourist in the land of greatness. The sword does not decide to be sharp only during the duel. It is sharp in the silence of the scabbard, in the dampness of the night, and in the heat of the forge. Your problem is that you treat your goals like a destination you can reach and then rest. There is no rest. There is only the refinement of the strike. You must learn to love the boredom of the repetition. The 1,000th stroke must be as precise and as vital as the first. Most people fail because they are addicted to the novelty of starting. They love the new version of themselves for 3 days, and then they crumble when the salt of sweat stings their eyes. You must develop a taste for that salt. You must find a perverse joy in the monotony of doing the work when no one is clapping, when the results are invisible, and when the only witness to your effort is the cold, uncaring stars. This is where the dark philosophy begins to take root. You are not doing this for a reward. You are doing this because the alternative is to be a casualty of your own weakness. Every time you skip the task you set for yourself, you are committing a small act of suicide. You are killing the man you were meant to be. Look closely at the blade of your intent. Is it notched? Is it rusted by the moisture of your self-pity? You often speak of your potential as if it were a shield, but potential is a curse if it is never forged into habit. In the mountains, I learned that the rock does not move because the rain begs it to. The rock remains because its nature is to remain. You must make your discipline your nature. Stop asking how you feel about your duties. Your feelings are the most unreliable allies you have. They are traitors that will whisper sweet lies of tomorrow into your ear when you are at your most vulnerable. To achieve absolute consistency, you must become deaf to your own complaints. You must cultivate a dualistic mind. One part that feels the pain, the fatigue, and the doubt, and another part, the observer, that watches these emotions pass like clouds without ever letting them touch the sword hand. This is the no mind of the strategist. When I faced 60 enemies at Ichijoji, if I had stopped to consider my fear, I would have been a corpse before the first sunbeam hit the grass. I moved because movement was the only truth. You must move because the work is the only truth. Modern life has made you soft by giving you too many choices. You choose what to eat, what to watch, when to sleep, and when to complain. I am telling you to kill the choice. When the sun rises, the work begins. There is no debate. There is no internal council meeting to decide if we are up for it today. The decision was made the moment you chose the path. To revisit that decision every morning is a sign of a fractured spirit. A man who has to decide to be disciplined every day is a man who has already lost the war. You must move from the state of trying to the state of being. A mountain does not try to be tall. Simply is. A warrior does not try to be consistent. He is the consistency. Consider the rhythm of the void. In my writings, I spoke of the timing in all things. There is the timing of the strike, and there is the timing of the shadow. Your life is currently out of rhythm because you are trying to sprint in a marathon and sleep during the harvest. Consistency is the heartbeat of the universe. It is the slow, grinding pressure that turns coal into diamond and canyons into cathedrals. You want the diamond, but you flee from the pressure. You want the cathedral, but you refuse to lay the bricks in the rain. Listen to the silence between your heartbeats. That is the space where your excuses live. It is a hollow place, filled with the echoes of "I'm not ready," or "the timing isn't right." The timing is never right. The timing is a lie invented by the fearful to justify their paralysis. You must learn to strike in the gap between your thoughts. The moment a task appears, the blade must fall. If you allow even a second of hesitation, the rot of overthinking begins. This is why you are tired. You are not tired from the work. You are tired from the mental exhaustion of fighting yourself to start the work. Imagine the energy you would have if you simply obeyed your own commands without question. Imagine the power of a mind that has no internal opposition. This is the dark secret of the elite. They are not more talented than you. They are simply less divided. They do not waste energy on internal debates. They have unified their will. To do this, you must embrace the darkness of isolation. You must be willing to walk alone, misunderstood by those who still live in the flickering light of distractions. They will call you obsessed. They will call you cold. Let them. Their opinions are the rust on your blade. Wipe them away with the cloth of your results. As we reach the depth of this confrontation, feel the weight of the steel against your neck. This is the reality of time. Every hour you spend in inconsistency is an hour you have handed over to death without a fight. You are not young. You do not have forever. The illusion of a long life is the greatest enemy of the warrior. If you knew you were to die at sunset, would you still be negotiating with your workout? Would you still be planning to start that project next week? Absolute consistency is the only proper response to the brevity of existence. It is the way we scream into the face of the void that we were here, and that we were not broken. You must become obsessed with the now, not the hedonistic now of the fool, but the strategic now of the master. Every single moment is a duel. Every choice to do the work is a victory. Every choice to delay is a defeat. There are no draws in this life. You are either sharpening your spirit or you are letting it dull. There is no middle ground. There is no maintenance. If you are not ascending through the pain of consistency, you are sliding down the slope of mediocrity. The world is designed to pull you down. The gravity of society wants you to be average, comfortable, and predictable. To be consistent is to defy gravity. It is a violent act of rebellion against the status quo of the human condition. Feel that fire in your gut. It is not a warm, glowing ember. It is a dark, scorching heat that demands action. Use it. Let it consume the part of you that still wants to fit in, the part that still wants to be liked, and the part that still wants to be normal. There is nothing normal about the path we are on. It is a path of shadows, of silence, and of the unrelenting rhythm of the forge. Prepare yourself. We have stripped away the illusions. Now we begin the long, cold march toward the integration of the steel. The heat of the forge is not an event. It is a state of being. You have survived the first layers of silence, but now we must address the poison of the social mirror. You are consistently inconsistent because you are still looking for your reflection in the eyes of others. You seek a well done from a world that is drowning in its own mediocrity. A true warrior, one who has embraced the dark philosophy of the void, knows that the only valid judgment is the silence of the room when the work is finished. In the Decado I wrote, "Do not seek pleasure for its own sake." Most men interpret this as a call to misery. They are wrong. It is a call to freedom. When you no longer require the pleasure of recognition, you are free to be absolute. You are free to repeat the same grueling movement 10,000 times without the need for a witness. Consistency is the highest form of self-respect because it is a private pact. It is a blood oath you take with your own shadow. If you break it, you are not failing your boss, your family, or your followers. You are failing the only person who will be there when you take your final breath. You are proving to yourself that your word is worthless. And a man with a worthless word is a man without a soul. Stop negotiating. The terms of the contract were set long ago. You trade your comfort for your legacy. You trade your fleeting impulses for a mind of iron. If the trade feels too expensive today, it is because you are still overvaluing your own weakness. You are still treating your laziness as if it were a precious part of your personality. It is not. It is a parasite. And the only way to kill a parasite is to starve it of the attention it craves. Look at the weapon you have chosen to carry, your purpose. If you do not use it every day, it becomes a burden rather than a tool. A sword that stays in its scabbard for too long will rust and stick. When the moment of the duel arrives, it will betray you. Your discipline is exactly the same. You cannot save your willpower for a big occasion. Willpower is a muscle that must be torn and rebuilt in the small, invisible moments of the morning. You think the great battles of history were won on the field. Well, they were won in the decades of repetitive, boring, and agonizing preparation that preceded them. When I fought the Yoshioka clan, I did not win because I was faster. I won because I had already lived that fight 1,000 times in the rain, in the mud, and in the freezing cold of my own isolation. My consistency had made the outcome inevitable. You are currently making your failure inevitable by choosing the path of least resistance. You are choosing the soft bed, the easy meal, and the shallow thought. You are polishing the scabbard while the blade inside is rotting. Wake up. The darkness is not your enemy. The light of distraction is. In the darkness, there is only the work. In the darkness, there is no one to impress and no one to lie to. You must become a creature of the dark, one who thrives in the hours when the rest of the world is dreaming of greatness without ever paying the price for it. You must find a savage satisfaction in the fact that while they sleep, you are becoming a weapon. Consider the mountain sea spirit. In my strategy, I teach that when the enemy expects the sea, you must be the mountain. When they expect the mountain, you must be the sea. Your enemy is the resistance within you. It expects you to quit when it rains. It expects you to slow down when you are tired. To be absolutely consistent, you must be the mountain when your body begs to be the sea. You must be unmovable. You must be a monument to your own resolve. When the resistance pushes, you do not push back. You simply remain. You endure. Consistency is not about explosive energy. It is about the terrifying persistence of a glacier. A glacier does not argue with the mountain. It simply moves, inch by inch, until the mountain is reshaped. You must reshape your life through the slow, grinding pressure of your habits. Do not look for hacks or shortcuts. The man who seeks a shortcut is a man who hates the journey. And if you hate the journey, you have already lost the path. The path is the work. The work is the path. There is no result that will ever be more important than the discipline required to achieve it. If you were handed the crown without the struggle, the crown would crush your neck because you would not have the strength to wear it. The struggle is the forge that builds the neck. Embrace the weight. Love the resistance. It is the only thing telling you that you are still ascending. Now let us deconstruct the lie of balance. You have been told that you need a balanced life to be happy. This is a strategy for the average. To achieve the absolute, you must be lopsided. You must be obsessed. A sword is not a balanced tool. It is a tool designed for a singular lethal purpose. Your life must become a singular lethal purpose. Everything that does not contribute to the sharpness of your blade must be discarded. This sounds harsh to the ears of the soft, but to the warrior, it is the ultimate clarity. Think of all the things you do out of habit, out of social obligation, or out of a fear of missing out. These are the weeds in your garden. They are stealing the nutrients from your intent. You must be ruthless. You must be willing to be the villain in the stories of those who want you to stay small. If you are consistent in your mission, you will lose friends. You will lose the approval of the mediocre. You will be called extreme. Accept this as a badge of honor. It means you are no longer part of the herd. It means you have stepped out of the warm, suffocating pen of the masses and into the cold, clean air of the peaks. Absolute consistency requires a level of focus that borders on the divine. It requires you to look at a distraction, no matter how beautiful or tempting, and see it for what it truly is. A trap set by your own lower nature to keep you from the void. Breathe again. Feel the oxygen fueling the fire of your resolve. We are moving into the heart of the confrontation. You have realized that you are the obstacle. You have realized that your emotions are noise. Now you must realize that there is no end to this. There is no graduation ceremony for discipline. There is no retirement from the way of the warrior. You are in this until the iron of your spirit meets the cold of the grave. And that is the most beautiful thing about it. Most people spend their lives waiting for something to happen. You are the thing that is happening. You are the force that is shaping the world through the sheer, unrelenting power of your consistency. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are creating the moment through the rhythm of your actions. Every sunrise is a call to arms. Every sunset is a report of the territory you have conquered within yourself. Do not let the rhythm break. Even a single day of slackness is a crack in the armor. And a crack in the armor is an invitation to the blade of regret. Stay in the stance. Keep the eyes fixed on the invisible point. The void is watching, and it is pleased by your persistence. We are no longer descending, we are forging. The steel is red hot, and the hammer of your will is falling with the precision of a master. The silence you feel now is not the absence of sound, but the presence of power. When you have mastered the internal rhythm of consistency, you begin to see the world as it truly is. A collection of fractured rhythms and broken wills. Most people move through life in a state of reaction. They react to the news, they react to their bosses, they react to their own hunger. They are like leaves caught in a whirlpool, spinning with great speed but going nowhere. You, however, are learning to be the water itself. In the Book of the Void, I taught that the void is where nothing exists, and yet everything is possible. Absolute consistency is the gate to that void. When your actions are so deeply ingrained that they no longer require thought, your mind becomes a mirror. You stop reacting and start perceiving. You see the opening before the enemy even knows they have left it. In your modern world, the enemy is the saturation of the trivial. To be consistent in your deep work, in your physical training, and in your mental stillness is to strike a blow against the collective insanity of your age. You are becoming an anomaly, and in a world of chaos, the anomaly is the only thing with the power to lead. Do not be afraid of the isolation this brings. The bird that flies highest is always the one that flies alone. Embrace the chill of the altitude. It is the only place where the air is pure enough to sustain a spirit like yours. Think of the no-design strategy. I taught that you must have no fixed preference for any weapon. Many men become obsessed with their tools, their specific routines, their apps, their rituals, and they forget that the tool is not the goal. The goal is the destruction of the obstacle. If your routine becomes a cage, break it. If your habits become a way to hide from the reality of the fight, burn them. Consistency is not about doing the exact same thing at the exact same hour every day like a mindless machine. It is about the unwavering intent to achieve the result, regardless of the circumstances. If you are traveling, you find a floor to sweat on. If you are grieving, you find a silence to breathe in. If you are failing, you find a lesson to grow from. This is the fluidity of the master. You are like a stream that meets a boulder. You do not argue with a rock. You simply flow around it without ever losing your downward momentum toward the sea. Your downward momentum is your purpose. Let nothing stop it. Let the world throw its tantrums and its crises at you. Simply observe them, adapt, and continue the strike. The man who is fixed in his ways is brittle and easy to break. The man who is fixed in his intent but fluid in his execution is invincible. Consider the timing of the shadow strike. Often the greatest progress is made when no one, not even you, realizes it is happening. Consistency is the slow accumulation of invisible advantages. You do not see the blade getting sharper with each stroke of the whetstone, yet the microscopic reality is that the edge is becoming lethal. Most people quit because they cannot see the edge changing. They want a sign. They want a miracle. They want the heavens to part and a voice to tell them they are doing well. But the dark philosophy knows that the only sign you need is the fact that you did the work today. That is the miracle. The fact that you defied your own nature for another 24 hours is a feat of godlike proportions. Stop looking at the scoreboard and start looking at the blade. Is it moving? Is it being used? If the answer is yes, then you are winning. The victory is not at the end of the path. The victory is the path itself. Every step taken in discipline is a triumph over the entropy of the universe. You are an architect of order in a realm of decay. Wear that responsibility with the gravity it deserves. Do not let a single moment slip through your fingers like sand. Grip your time as if it were the hilt of a sword in a life-or-death struggle. Because it is. Let us speak of the collapsing strategy. When an enemy begins to crumble, you must not give them room to breathe. You must press the advantage until the collapse is total. Your enemy is your old self, the one who made excuses, the one who sought comfort, the one who feared the cold. You have started to break that old self. You feel it weakening. You feel the new, harder version of you taking control. Now is the time to be most ruthless. Do not offer your old self mercy, in the form of a cheat day or a week of slacking off. That is not mercy. It is a stay of execution for your potential. Press the attack. When you feel tired, work harder. When you feel you have done enough, do one more set, one more hour, one more repetition. This is how you shatter the ceiling of your previous limits. You must become a predator of your own weaknesses. Hunt them down in the corners of your mind where they hide. When you find a thought of "I can't," crush it with the weight of "I am already doing it." This is the absolute consistency of the conqueror. You are not trying to improve. You are trying to replace. You are replacing a house of straw with a fortress of stone. Fortresses are not built with feelings. They are built with a relentless stacking of heavy, difficult blocks, day after day, year after year, until the very earth remembers the weight of your presence. Look into the void once more. What do you see? If you see fear, you are still looking with the eyes of the child. If you see opportunity, you are looking with the eyes of the merchant. But if you see nothing but a vast, open space waiting for the command of your will, then you are looking with the eyes of Musashi. The world is empty of meaning until you carve that meaning into it with the edge of your actions. Your consistency is the ink with which you write your name upon the fabric of time. Do not write in pencil, easily erased by the first rain of hardship. Write in blood and steel. Make your existence so undeniable that even after you are gone, the rhythm of your discipline continues to vibrate in the lives of those you touched. This is true immortality. It is not found in fame or in gold, but in the transmission of a superior spirit. As we move into the final stages of this session, feel the integration beginning. The observer and the actor are becoming one. The sword and the hand are no longer separate. You are no longer practicing consistency. You are becoming a living embodiment of the absolute. The world outside may still be loud, but inside you, there is only the humming vibration of a soul that has finally found its frequency. Stay in the void. Let it wash away the last remnants of your hesitation. We are almost at the center. The integration of the blade is a silent process. You have survived the fire and you have endured the hammer. Now comes the cooling, the moment where the spirit hardens into its permanent form. To be absolutely consistent is to accept that you are no longer a person of moods. You have transcended the cycle of highs and lows that governs the common man. In the Book of 5 Rings, I spoke of the gaze. Your eyes must be large and broad, seeing the distant as if it were near and the near as if it were distant. This is the secret of long-term consistency. You must see your daily task as if it were the final battle of your life. And you must see your ultimate goal as if it were already happening in the room with you. This collapse of time is what creates the master. When the future is certain because your present actions are undeniable, fear vanishes. Fear only exists in the gap between what you say you will do and what you actually do. Close that gap. Let there be no space for doubt to breathe. Your life is no longer a series of days. It is a single, continuous strike. Consider the strategy of the crossing at a ford. In life, there are moments of great transition, where the current is strong and the footing is unsure. Most men lose their consistency during these crossings. They let a crisis at work, a heartbreak, or a physical injury become an excuse to let the blade drop. But the warrior knows that the crossing is exactly where the strategy is most needed. You do not stop being a warrior because the water is deep. You become more of a warrior because the water demands it. Absolute consistency is your anchor in the storm. When everything around you is shifting, your habits are the only ground you can trust. Do not wait for the storm to pass to resume your discipline. The discipline is what carries you through the storm. If you can maintain your rhythm when your world is falling apart, you will be untouchable when it comes back together. You are forging a spirit that does not depend on the environment for its strength. You are the source of the strength. You are the sun that does not ask for permission to shine. Now, as we approach the final silence, look at your hands one last time. They are the tools of your will. Every scar, every callus, every ache is a testament to the fact that you chose the difficult path. There is a profound, dark beauty in the life of a man who has stopped lying to himself. There is a terrifying peace in knowing that you have finally become the master of your own internal kingdom. You no longer need the world's permission to be great. You no longer need the world's maps to find your way. You have found the way, and the way is in the doing. In the Dakodo, my final testament, I wrote, "Do not stray from the way of the samurai." This was not a call to follow a set of rules, but a command to remain true to your own honed intent until the very end. The way is a narrow path, and it is paved with the bones of the versions of yourself you had to kill to get here. Do not mourn them. They were shadows. You are the substance. The command is simple: return. But do not return as the man who began this session. The man who sat down was a collection of hopes and hesitations. The man who stands up must be a force of nature. When you open your eyes and step back into the noise of the world, carry the silence of the mountains within you. Let your movements be deliberate. Let your speech be sparse and weighted with truth. Let your work be so consistent that it becomes a law of physics to those around you. You are now a practitioner of the art of absolute consistency. This means that from this moment until your heart stops, there is no off. There is only the path. When you are tired, you walk. When you are afraid, you strike. When you are alone, you remain upright. This is the dark philosophy of the disciplined mind. It is not a burden. It is the ultimate liberation. You are finally free from the tyranny of your own whims. The session is concluding, but the work is eternal. Feel the weight of your body again. It feels different now. Heavier, more grounded, like stone. The horizon you saw in your mind is now the horizon of your reality. The blue glow of the void is now the light behind your eyes. Do not speak of this experience to those who would not understand. Do not seek to explain your new intensity. Simply live it. Let your results be your only testimony. The world does not need more words. It needs more examples of unbroken wills. Go now. The forge is cold, the blade is sharp, and the path is waiting. There is nothing left to say. There is only the next strike. Be the mountain. Be the sea. Be the void. Be absolute. Silence returns now. Not as an end, but as a beginning. The rhythm continues. The heartbeat of the warrior is the only sound that remains. You have survived the darkness of your own mind. You have recognized the rust upon your blade. But intent without technique is nothing more than blind fury. Miyamoto Musashi was not merely a man of spirit. He was a man of method. Now, as the silence grows denser, we enter the Book of Earth. Do not listen to these words as advice. Listen to them as the map of your new reality. In this first manuscript, I established that the way of the strategist is the way of the carpenter. A carpenter does not build a structure by accident. He knows his tools, he knows the grain of the wood, and above all, he knows the foundation upon which he stands. Your foundation is your routine. If your base is made of sand, It does not matter how sharp your ambition is. You will crumble at the first storm. Absolute consistency begins with the mastery of the mundane. You must know the terrain in which you fight every day. Look at your environment, look at your hours of sleep. Look at what you allow to enter your mind through your senses. All of this is the earth. If you do not master the ground you tread upon, you will never master the air of victory. Consider the principle of knowing the benefit of all things. Musashi stated that the warrior must become familiar with all arts and have no limiting preferences. In your struggle for consistency, this means you cannot ignore the small details of your existence. The way you organize your space, the precision with which you fulfill an insignificant task, the uprightness of your posture while you listen to this. Everything is connected. Mastery is not an event that occurs on the battlefield. It is a habit cultivated in the darkness of the workshop. If you despise the small, you will be defeated by the large. The Book of Earth teaches us that strategy is a science of proportion. You must understand when to strike and when to observe. To be constant, you must stop acting on impulse and start acting by design. Consistency is nothing more than the repetition of a correct design. Observe your life as if it were a work of architecture. Where are the cracks? Where are you allowing time to leak away without purpose? Be the carpenter of your own destiny. Measure twice, cut once. In the strategy of the earth, I speak of the importance of not having a narrow intention. Many of you fail in your discipline because you obsess over a single result, a single goal, a single moment of glory. That is having a small vision. The true strategist sees the entire landscape. Absolute consistency is not about reaching a goal and then stopping. It is about making the path itself the goal. If your intention is narrow, you will tire when the reward is slow to arrive. But if your vision is broad, you will understand that every day of discipline is, in itself, the greatest reward. It is proof that you are no longer a slave to your momentary desires. The Book of Earth is the study of the fundamentals that do not change. The seasons change, the weather changes, enemies change, but the earth is always beneath your feet. Your discipline must be that earth. Immovable, solid, eternal. Stop seeking novelty in your routines and start seeking depth in the fundamentals. Learning this strategy of the way means understanding that victory is decided before the first clash of swords. Musashi claimed that the strategist wins first and then goes to war, while the loser goes to war and then tries to win. Your victory is decided in this moment of silence. It is decided in the decision not to break this session, in the decision of tomorrow morning, in the decision of tonight. If you have already won the battle in your mind, the execution in the physical world is a mere formality. The Book of Earth demands that you be honest with your equipment. Is your mind sharpened, or is it filled with emotional junk? Is your body prepared, or is it an obstacle to your will? You cannot go to war with a wooden sword and expect the steel of the world to surrender to you. You must harden yourself. Consistency is the process of hardening. It is the repeated strike of the hammer upon the metal until the impurities vanish. Do not complain about the heat of the process. The heat is what separates you from common iron. Finally, understand the rhythm of the earth. There is a time to sow and a time to reap. Your problem is that you want to reap the same day you sow. That is not strategy. It is immaturity. Absolute consistency requires a deep faith in the natural order of things. If you put in the work, if you maintain your guard, if you respect the fundamentals, the result is inevitable. It is a law of the earth. You cannot hurry the growth of a tree, but you can ensure it has water and light every day. Your discipline is that water and that light. Stop looking at the clock and start looking at the quality of your effort. In the Book of Earth, success is not a flash of luck. It is the accumulated result of an immovable foundation. Stand firm. Let the world shake around you. You are the earth. You are the foundation. You are the base upon which the rest of your life will be built. The technical doctrine has begun to seep into your spirit. Do not reject it. Let it settle like stardust upon the horizon. To master the earth is to master the timing of the mundane. You must understand that there is a rhythm even in the static. In my strategy, I speak of the timing of the shadow, the movements that occur before the visible action takes place. Your consistency is often defeated because you only focus on the visible battle, ignoring the shadows where your discipline actually lives or dies. You focus on the hour of work, but you ignore the hour of preparation. You focus on the strike, but you neglect the sharpening of the blade. To be absolute, you must govern the shadows. You must be as disciplined in your rest as you are in your labor. You must be as precise in your silence as you are in your speech. If your shadow is chaotic, your light will eventually flicker and fail. Ground yourself in the unseen. Make your foundation so deep that no surface-level storm can reach the roots of your intent. This is the ultimate security of the strategist. To be unshakable because your roots are anchored in the primordial soil of habit. Do not be misled by the simplicity of these truths. The most difficult thing in the world is to remain simple in a world of complexity. Most men fail because they seek complicated solutions to simple problems of the will. They seek new philosophies when they simply need to stand their ground. In the Book of Earth, I emphasize that the way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of death. For you, in this modern age, this means the resolute acceptance of the death of your comfort. You must be willing to let your convenience die every single morning. You must be willing to let your desire for ease perish so that your purpose may live. This is the great death that leads to a superior life. When you are no longer afraid of the discomfort of the path, you are finally free to walk it forever. Consistency is nothing more than the daily funeral of your excuses. Bury them deep. Do not look back. The soil of your character is enriched by the decay of the versions of you that were too soft to endure the frost. Refine your perception until you can see the difference between looking and seeing. Looking is a function of the eyes. Seeing is a function of the spirit. Most people look at their schedules, their goals, and their lives with a shallow gaze. They see the surface, but they do not see the underlying structure of the strategy. To see as a warrior is to perceive the connection between your smallest action and your greatest victory. When you drink water, see it as fuel for the strike. When you sleep, see it as the recovery of the blade. When you endure a moment of boredom, see it as the tempering of your patience. There is no such thing as downtime for the man of the way. Everything is training. Every second is an opportunity to reinforce the earth beneath your feet. If you can maintain this perception, consistency ceases to be an effort and becomes an inevitability. You cannot help but be disciplined when you finally see that everything you do is a move in the grand duel of your existence. The earth does not move for the convenience of the traveler. The traveler must adapt to the earth. You have spent too much time trying to bend the world to fit your whims. You want the work to be easy. You want the path to be paved. You want the sun to shine only when you are ready to walk. This is the arrogance of the weak. The strategist knows that the world is indifferent and the terrain is harsh. The strength is not in the ground, but in the feet that walk upon it. You must develop the lead feet of the warrior, a stance so heavy and so connected to the earth that nothing can push you off your center. This heaviness comes from the weight of your history of kept promises. Every day you are consistent, you add a layer of stone to your stance. Every day you fail, you become lighter, more fragile, and easier to blow away. Decide now. Are you a mountain or are you dust? The earth is waiting for your answer, not in words, but in the heavy, rhythmic thud of your continued progress. We close the book of Earth by returning to the principle of the 1-inch strike. You do not need to move mountains today. You only need to move 1 inch, with absolute precision and unyielding intent. The grand narrative of your life is written in these tiny, consistent movements. Do not be intimidated by the 2 hours of silence or the years of work ahead. Focus only on the inch in front of you. Secure the ground you stand on right now. Make this moment absolute. If you can master this inch, you can master the mile. If you can master this breath, you can master the life. The doctrine of the earth is now part of you. It is the soil in which your spirit will grow. But the earth is only the beginning. To be truly invincible, you must learn to be fluid. You must learn to move like the element that can wear down even the hardest stone. As we transition from the stability of the earth to the relentless flow of the water, do not lose your grounding. Keep your feet heavy, but let your spirit begin to loosen. The path is deepening. The current is rising. Stay focused. The way is only beginning to reveal its true edge. The earth has given you a foundation, but the foundation alone is not enough to win. A rock is strong, but it can be bypassed. A mountain is vast, but it is fixed. To be truly consistent in a world of chaos, you must now master the book of water. Water adapts to the shape of the vessel that contains it, yet it never loses its nature. It can be a gentle mist or a crushing wave. This is the essence of the fluid mind. You have tried to be disciplined by force, by gritting your teeth and fighting against the current of your life. That is why you break. To be absolute, you must become the current. When the vessel of your day changes, when an emergency arises, when your plans shatter, when the world demands your attention, you do not break your rhythm. You simply flow into the new shape of the moment without ever losing your downward momentum toward your purpose. The water does not complain about the rocks in the stream. It simply finds the way around them. In the strategy of water, I speak of the spirit of the face. Your external appearance and your internal resolve must be as calm and as clear as a deep pool. Most men wear their struggle on their faces. They look harried, stressed, and desperate. This is a sign of a fractured spirit. To maintain absolute consistency, you must cultivate a watercolored mind. Whether you are in the heat of a deadline or the silence of a meditation, your internal state remains level. Do not let the surface ripples of your emotions reach the depths of your intent. If you are angry, be angry like water, moving with force but remaining transparent. If you are tired, be tired like water, flowing slowly but never stopping. The moment you lose your calm, you lose your strategy. A mind that is agitated cannot see the truth of the situation. Keep your spirit vast and open like the great sea. A drop of poison cannot taint the ocean. A single bad day cannot taint a life built on the fluid mastery of the way. Consider the principle of the fluid stance. I taught that you should not have a favorite weapon or a fixed way of standing. In your life, this means you must not be a slave to your specific conditions. If you can only be disciplined when you have your favorite coffee, your perfect desk, and absolute silence, then you are not disciplined. You are merely lucky. True consistency is being able to execute the strike in the mud, in the rain, and in the middle of a crowd. Water does not wait for a perfect channel to flow. It creates the channel by the sheer persistence of its movement. Strip away your dependencies. If you cannot do the work today because your environment changed, you are brittle. You are like glass, not water. Glass is hard until it meets a force it cannot handle. Then it shatters. Water simply moves. Learn to find the void in the chaos. No matter how loud the world becomes, there is always a path for the fluid mind to continue its work. To move like water is to understand the timing of the collapse. When you feel your resolve weakening, when the fatigue starts to pull at your limbs, do not fight it with rigid resistance. Instead, flow with it. Acknowledge the tiredness, but do not let it stop the movement. This is the secret of the long-term warrior. We do not win by never feeling weak. We win by moving through the weakness until it dissolves. Water is the softest substance, yet it wears away the hardest granite. It does not do this through violence, but through the absolute consistency of its flow. Your small, daily actions are the drops of water falling on the stone of your destiny. Do not underestimate the power of a single drop if it falls forever. The world will try to dam your progress. It will try to build walls of distraction and mountains of responsibility in your path. Let them. A wall only holds water until the water rises above it. Keep flowing. The obstacle is only a temporary shape that the water must navigate. Finally, master the spirit of the sea. No matter how many rivers flow into the ocean does not overflow. No matter how much sun beats down upon it, the ocean does not dry up. This is the level of consistency we are forging. You must reach a point where your discipline is so vast that no single event can significantly alter your course. A great success should not make you arrogant. A great failure should not make you despair. These are just different temperatures of the same water. Stay in the deep. The surface of the sea may be violent with storms, but 100 feet down, there is absolute, unmoving silence. That is where your true self lives. While the world sees your outward actions, the waves, you are operating from the deep, cold stillness of the abyss. This is the book of water. Be fluid. Be relentless. Be deep. The current is taking you where you need to go, but only if you refuse to stop moving. The transition is complete. The earth is beneath you, the water is within you. Now we prepare for the heat of the struggle. To master the water is to understand that your discipline must have no shape, yet it must have the power to reshape everything it touches. You have learned to flow, but now you must learn to strike while flowing. In my strategy, I speak of the red-hot iron spirit. When you are engaged in the pursuit of absolute consistency, you will encounter moments where the world resists you with intentional force. This is not the passive terrain of the earth or the shifting currents of the water. This is the friction of the fire. You must be like the water that turns into steam when it meets the heat, expanding, rising, and becoming a force that can move mountains. Do not fear the friction of your life. The heat you feel when the work becomes difficult is the signal that the transformation is happening. A blade that is never heated remains soft iron. You are being heated so that you may be tempered. Consider the principle of becoming the enemy. In your struggle for consistency, your enemy is the version of you that craves distraction. To defeat him, you must occupy his mind. You must anticipate when he will try to whisper excuses. You must know his favorite hiding places, the social media feeds, the comfort foods, the mindless entertainment. By the time he reaches for them, you must already be there, guarding the gate. This is the fluid strategy of anticipation. When you become the master of your own weaknesses, they no longer have power over you. You are not fighting a ghost. You are dismantling a machine that you have studied. This is the calm within the struggle. You do not fight with anger. You fight with the cold precision of a surgeon removing a tumor. The tumor is your hesitation. Cut it out. Let the wound heal into a scar of discipline. We now enter the book of fire. Fire is the study of the struggle itself. It is the moment where the sword meets the shield. Consistency is easy when the sun is shining and the body is fresh. But the true fire of discipline is forged in the moments of crossing the ford at a straight. When the deadline is looming, when the illness is pulling at your strength, when the doubt is screaming in your ear, that is the fire. In these moments you must not be passive. You must step on the sword. In my duels, if the enemy tried to strike, I did not just parry. I stepped on his weapon to render it useless. When a distraction tries to strike your focus, do not just ignore it. Crush it. Make the decision so final that the distraction has no room to return. This is the aggression of the disciplined mind. It is a holy violence against anything that threatens your purpose. In the heat of the fire, you must master the mountain-sea change. If the enemy, the resistance, comes at you like a mountain, unyielding and heavy, you must be the sea, fluid and overwhelming. If the resistance is like the sea, shifting and elusive, you must be the mountain, solid and immovable. Your consistency must be a master of transitions. Do not use the same tactic for every day. Some days require the slow, grinding endurance of the earth. Other days require the explosive, rapid fire of the strike. The absolute mind knows which element to summon. If you feel a wave of laziness, strike it with the fire of action. If you feel a wave of anxiety, ground it with the weight of the stone. You are the conductor of these elements. You are the strategist of your own energy. Never let the rhythm of the struggle dictate your pace. You dictate the pace to the struggle. Finally, understand the principle of releasing the hold. There will be times when you feel you have reached your limit, where the fire is too hot and the weight is too heavy. In these moments, the common man quits. The warrior, however, releases his hold on the self that is suffering. You are not the man who is tired. You are the observer of the man who is tired. By detaching from the physical sensation of the struggle, you find a hidden reservoir of strength. This is the spirit of the void, beginning to show its face. Absolute consistency is only possible when you stop identifying with your temporary states of being. You are the way, not the traveler. The traveler gets tired. The way remains. As we move deeper into the book of fire, prepare to burn away the last remnants of your ego. The flame is rising, and only the steel will remain. The confrontation is becoming total. Do not blink. To exist in the fire is to understand the 3 screams. In battle, I used the scream to unbalance the enemy. One before the strike, one during the strike, and one after the victory. In your pursuit of absolute consistency, your screams are your declarations of intent. You must scream at the dawn with your actions, declaring that you have arrived to claim the day. You must scream during the struggle, letting the pain know that it has no dominion over you. And you must scream at the night, confirming that you have held the line. This is not a physical sound, but a vibration of the spirit. A man who is silent in his resolve is easily broken, but a man whose spirit screams with purpose is a terror to his own weaknesses. When the voice of your comfort begs for a reprieve, drown it out with the roar of your commitment. Consider the strategy of to move the shadows. When you cannot see the enemy clearly, you must force them to move so their shadow reveals their position. Your hidden enemies are the subtle habits you don't even realize are draining your time. The shadows are the minutes lost to mindless scrolling, the seconds spent in hesitation, the half measures in your efforts. To move these shadows, you must increase the intensity of your fire. Shine the light of absolute awareness on every corner of your day. Force your laziness out of the darkness and into the open. Once a weakness is seen, it can be hunted. A warrior does not wait for the enemy to attack. He scouts the woods and flushes the enemy out. Do not wait for a bad day to test your discipline. Test it yourself by imposing harder conditions. Hunt your comfort until it has nowhere left to hide. In the heat of the struggle, you must master the attacking the heart strategy. Most people try to fix their inconsistency by changing their external environment. New apps, new schedules, new gear. This is a superficial strike. To win the war, you must strike the heart of the problem, your own self-image. If you still see yourself as a person trying to be disciplined, you will eventually fail. You must strike the heart of that identity and replace it with the identity of the warrior for whom discipline is as natural as breathing. In the Book of Fire, I taught that to break the enemy's spirit is to win the battle. Break the spirit of your old self. Make it realize that the old way of living is no longer an option. When the heart of the resistance is broken, the limbs will follow. Consistency becomes effortless when the core of your being has already surrendered to the path. Understand the passing through the middle tactic. When you are surrounded by obstacles, do not try to retreat or go around. Throw yourself into the very center of the conflict. In your life, this means tackling the most difficult task first, the one you dread the most. By passing through the middle of your resistance, you shatter the momentum of your fear. If you avoid the hard work, the fear grows. If you confront it head-on, the fear evaporates in the heat of your action. This is the aggressive consistency of the fire. You do not negotiate with the flame. You become the flame. You become the most volatile and unstoppable force in the room. When you operate from the center of the struggle, you control the rhythm of the entire engagement. You are no longer being pushed by life. You are the one doing the pushing. Finally, we address the release of the four hands. In a grapple, if both warriors are locked in a struggle of equal strength, the one who first releases his grip to find a new opening is the one who wins. If you are locked in a stalemate with your own procrastination, stop fighting it on the same terms. Stop trying to force yourself through sheer willpower. Instead, release the grip. Change your perspective. Move from "I have to do this" to "it is already done in my mind." By releasing the internal tension, you find a new angle of attack. You find the flow again. The fire is not just about raw heat. It is about the intelligence of the flame. It knows where to burn and what to leave behind. As we prepare to leave the Book of Fire and move toward the Book of the Wind, ensure that all your excuses have been turned to ash. Only the tempered steel of your resolve should remain. The final lesson of the fire is the spirit of the sun at noon. When the sun is at its peak, there are no shadows. Your consistency must reach this zenith, where your actions are so bright and so constant that no shadow of doubt can exist within you. You have burned away the hesitation. You have crushed the heart of the resistance. But do not become arrogant in your heat. Fire that is not controlled eventually destroys the house it was meant to warm. Your discipline must now become a controlled burn, a steady, perpetual energy that powers your life without consuming your soul. This is the transition into maturity. You are no longer fighting for the sake of fighting. You are fighting to maintain the order you have created. The fire has done its work. The iron is tempered. Now we must understand the environment in which this iron will strike. We enter the Book of the Wind. In my strategy, wind refers to the traditions and styles of other schools. To know your own path perfectly, you must know the paths that lead to nowhere. Look at the wind of modern society. It is a wind of softness, of instant gratification, and of shallow focus. Most people follow this wind blindly, drifting toward a life of quiet regret. By studying their inconsistency, you reinforce your own resolve. You see the man who quits when he is tired, and you use his weakness as a mirror to sharpen your strength. You see the woman who seeks a shortcut, and you recommit yourself to the long, difficult road. The Book of the Wind is the study of the other. By seeing the flaws in the world's rhythm, you calibrate your own heartbeat to a higher frequency. Consider this small and large strategy. Some schools focus only on small details. Others focus only on the grand scale. Both are wrong. To be absolutely consistent, you must master both. The small is the individual minute, the way you tie your shoes, the way you breathe, the way you speak. The large is the overarching purpose of your life, your legacy, your contribution to the world, the final mark you will leave. If you only focus on the large, you will trip over the small stones. If you only focus on the small, you will wander in circles. The wind teaches you to have a wide-angle gaze. You must be able to see the fly on the wall and the mountain on the horizon at the same time. This is the only way to ensure that your daily habits are actually taking you toward your ultimate destination. In the Book of the Wind, I speak against the preference for the long sword. Some warriors believe that a longer blade is always superior. This is a narrow mind. The length of the blade does not matter if the timing is wrong. In your life, the long sword is the obsession with big, flashy wins. You think that one massive breakthrough will make up for months of inconsistency. You are wrong. The short blade of a daily habit is often more lethal than the long sword of a rare ambition. Do not wait for the big moment to be great. Be great in the short, confined spaces of your Tuesday afternoon. Be lethal in the ordinary moments. A warrior who can win with a short blade in a tight space is far more dangerous than one who needs an open field and a giant weapon. Absolute consistency is the mastery of the short blade, the victory in the small, cramped moments of your day. Finally, understand the danger of speed. There are those who believe that moving fast is the same as being effective. They rush their work, they rush their rest, and they rush their lives. This is a shallow rhythm. Speed without precision is just noise. True mastery is the ability to move slowly when necessary and explosively when required. Consistency is a slow, rhythmic movement. It is the steady pace of the master who knows he has already won. If you are always in a rush, you are revealing your fear, the fear that you won't have enough time or that you aren't doing enough. Release that fear. The Book of the Wind teaches you to find your own natural pace, regardless of the frantic speed of the world around you. Let the world sprint toward its own exhaustion. You are walking the path of the mountain. Every step is heavy, every step is certain, and every step is absolute. We are nearing the end of the technical doctrine. The void is calling. The final insight of the wind is to recognize the stickiness of common habits. Most people are stuck in their ways because they are afraid of the vacuum that change creates. They cling to their old, inconsistent selves because a known prison feels safer than an unknown freedom. To be absolute, you must be like the wind itself. Impossible to grasp, impossible to pin down, yet powerful enough to reshape the coastlines. You have studied the other schools of mediocrity and seen their flaws. Now, you must purge the last remnants of their influence from your spirit. Do not be sticky. Do not let your past failures cling to your present actions. Every moment is a fresh strike. The wind does not look back at the trees it has bent. It only knows its current direction. Your direction is the absolute. Your direction is the path. We now stand at the threshold of the Book of the Void. This is the manuscript of nothingness. But do not be fooled. In my strategy, the void is not a hole. It is the source of all things. It is the state where the warrior and the sword become one, where there is no longer a person trying to be disciplined, but only the discipline itself. You have spent these hours deconstructing your habits, your fears, and your techniques. Now we must deconstruct the you that is doing the work. In the void, there is no "I am consistent." There is only the rhythm of the action. When you reach this state, the struggle disappears. You do not try to wake up. The sun rises and you rise with it. You do not try to work. The work is simply what is happening. This is the ultimate freedom from the friction of the will. In the Book of the Void, you learn to know that which exists and that which does not exist. Your worries about the future and your regrets about the past belong to that which does not exist. They are ghosts. They have no weight, no mass, and no power over your steel. The only thing that exists is the present strike, the breath you are taking right now. By focusing your entire being into the void of the now, you become invincible. A ghost cannot be cut by a sword, and a man who lives in the void cannot be cut by the distractions of the world. You are becoming untouchable because you are no longer leaving any part of yourself behind for the world to grab onto. You are fully present, fully empty, and therefore fully powerful. To master the void is to reach the state of naturalness. In the beginning, you had to force your discipline. You had to use the earth to ground yourself, the water to adapt, the fire to fight, and the wind to observe. But in the void, all these elements merge into a single, effortless flow. This is the spontaneous strike. It is the moment when the answer appears before the question is even asked. Your consistency has become so deep that it has entered your marrow. It is no longer a conscious choice. It is a biological imperative. You move with the certainty of a planet in orbit. This is the art of absolute consistency, in its purest form. It is the silence that follows a perfect victory, a silence that is not empty, but full of the resonance of a life lived correctly. Consider the principle of, the way of the strategist is the way of nature. Does the winter try to be cold? Does the lion try to be a predator? They simply are. By entering the void, you align yourself with the natural laws of the universe. The universe is consistent. The stars do not take days off. Tides do not wait for motivation. By becoming absolute in your discipline, you are returning to your natural state. You are shedding the artificial layers of modern weakness and reconnecting with the ancient, primal rhythm of survival and excellence. The void is the place where you realize that you were never learning to be consistent. You were simply remembering how to be what you truly are. You are the architect, the stone, and the space between. The transition is almost complete. To dwell in the void is to understand that speed and slowness are illusions. When your consistency is absolute, you are moving at the speed of reality. You no longer feel the rush of anxiety or the drag of procrastination. You are simply present. In the Book of the Void, I wrote that you should practice the way of strategy over many years and achieve the spirit of the warrior. This is the final integration. You are not a student anymore. You are the strategy itself. The void is where your skills become invisible. Just as a master musician does not think of the notes, you no longer think of the discipline. You have reached the no-sword state, where your spirit is so sharp that the obstacles in your life begin to dissolve before you even touch them. This is the ultimate efficiency. You are doing less, yet accomplishing everything, because there is no wasted motion in your soul. Look into the emptiness of the horizon you have created. It is not a place of loneliness, but a place of total sovereignty. In the void, you realize that the external world has no power to give or take away your consistency. The opinions of the crowd, the fluctuations of the economy, the changing of the guard, these are mere shadows passing across the surface of your deep, dark pool. You have cultivated a preemptive spirit. You are no longer waiting for life to happen to you. You are the one who is happening to life. Every morning you wake up, you are projecting your order onto the chaos of the world. This is the divine responsibility of the warrior. You are a light in the fog, not because you seek to lead others, but because your own path is so brightly lit by the fire of your resolve that others cannot help but notice the glow. As we reach the center of the void, the distinction between the work and the worker finally vanishes. This is the body of the void. Your physical form, your mental faculties, and your daily actions have merged into a single, unshakable monument. You have achieved absolute consistency, because there is no longer a self that wants to quit. The part of you that craves comfort has been starved to death by the years of your persistence. The part of you that fears failure has been blinded by the light of your constant action. You are a hollow bamboo, allowing the way to flow through you without resistance. This is the highest form of power, to be a vessel for the Absolute. You are the sword of the universe, striking the target of your purpose with the weight of the entire void behind you. Prepare for the final scream of the void. This is the silence that follows the ultimate victory. It is the moment where you realize that the path was never about the destination. The path was about who you became while walking it. You have forged a soul of steel in the fire of your own discipline. You have adapted like water, grounded yourself like earth, and understood the wind of the world. Now you must carry this emptiness back into the noise. Do not be afraid of losing this state. The void is not a place you visit. It is who you are. When you open your eyes, the world will look the same, but you will see the structures beneath the surface. You will see the opportunities where others see obstacles. You will see the rhythm where others see chaos. You are the master of the strategy. You are the architect of the Absolute. The ritual is complete. The 2 hours of silence and shadow have served their purpose. You are now being commanded to return. But as you return, remember, the way is in the training. Do not let this feeling of power fade into a memory. Keep the iron hot. Keep the water flowing. Keep the earth solid. You are the guardian of your own consistency. There are no more words to guide you, for you have become the guide. Step back into the world of men, but do not belong to it. Walk the path of the lone warrior with your head high and your spirit empty. The silence is yours. The victory is yours. The Absolute is yours. Go now. Strike without thought. Move without hesitation. Live without regret. The void is open. The way is clear. Finish the work.